How's everybody doing tonight? Let some people get in here and we'll start talking about the first topic of the evening and then see where the chat takes us. So how's everybody out there in the internet doing today? Rob, what's up? There's the notification went live. Oh. Don't drop your phone on your mouse. Things to get a little. All right. So some people are joining. Wanted to talk first off about, I don't know if anybody in the audience has seen it yet, but Den of Tools did a video about sponsorships and, free tools, stuff like that. Let me know if you've seen the video. I want to talk about some of the stuff he talked about in that video. If you don't know, Den of Tools does variety tool content. I think we talked about him a week or two ago on the live stream, but so he does a lot of Harbor Freight ads and various other tool related stuff. Renegade, what's up? And he was talking about Den of Tools, by the way, for those just joining. He did a video about tool sponsorships and disclosures and that kind of stuff. And he referenced a camera video in that video. He was talking about specifically trips. And he referenced a Gerald Undone video, which was talking about a trip to Japan. And Gerald Undone was not invited to that trip. And he was talking more about initial reviews and cameras. The reason I bring that up is he did a lot of correlation to SWK famous Scotty. No, I'm talking about Den of Tools. That's a different can of worms. But anyway, Gerald Undone video he was talking about companies blacklisting and the value to the creators of going to these events. Because, just like Milwaukee, they fly you in, they put you up in a nice hotel, do all these kind of things, for you, dinners, etc., and how it influences a creator's perspective on a tool. And honestly, having watched both, Gerald's video was a lot better of a video of a take on these trips. Because I've gone to a couple of the Milwaukee Pipeline or whatever they used to call it events, and they're great. They're fun. You get to hang out with fellow creators, and you get, you go to parties, you get free food, but as a creator, like, if I'd have gotten invited to this recent one and, only been a handful of products, it would have sucked for me as a content creator, losing income from the main job to go up there, spend 3 days, 4 days, and have very little content to show for it. And so anyway, the Gerald Undone video was more talking about but it's more about, does it influence creators? No, honestly, it doesn't influence creators. They're going to say honest, whatever they think about a tool. And these events, especially, you know, for my perspective, I'm talking about Alexia. Den of Tools did a video about tool sponsorships and that kind of stuff. One, just like the Gerald Undone video, at these events, you don't really get a lot of exposure to the tools. You literally see the new tools, you get to touch and fondle them, and really that's about it. You get to take videos of them. You know, they'll have set up demos. Everybody knows that they're not reviews. They're literally like, tomorrow's video is called, you know, first impressions or first look or something like that. I forget exactly how I titled it. But it's about the stubbies, but it can't be a review. I've only had them for a handful of days. That's not enough time to review a tool, you know. And I think Gerald Undone, who does camera reviews, in case you didn't know that, I think his production is like a week of testing, you know, and that's tools even, you know, tools really need more time than that, really, honestly. And so it's, you know, it's a little more involved than just, you know, checking dynamic range. You can't do that really with a you know, impact gun. The other thing I wanted to talk about was he was talking about Milwaukee and them not wanting you to disclose that you're sponsored by them. And them refusing to work with him because of that and all this stuff. Well, I've worked with Milwaukee for a very long time. In that time, there's been at least 5 heads of the marketing department or heads of the media relations department, which is what I deal with as a content creator. And there's been 5 of them. So any relationship or any bad blood should have been gone from any of, you know, those massive changes. And they've also sent out several communications that state specifically you have to disclose you're sponsored by Milwaukee. And he said exactly the opposite. And they've specifically said, no, you need to disclose that you are sponsored by Milwaukee or you're getting these tools from Milwaukee, which I've always done. And I've been with them for literally years. I think I've got sponsored by Milwaukee when I had 5,000 subscribers. And, you know, it's crazy that in that entire time, I've always said I've been sponsored by Milwaukee and nothing happened to anything, you know? So it's there's more to that story than he is telling, you know. Honestly, there has to be. 5 different media directors, media relations directors have changed in that time that I've been working with Milwaukee. And there's something more there than what he's saying, that why Milwaukee won't work with them. I don't know what it is. Haven't asked anybody. I'm not getting into that business, but it just seems a little more sus than just I disclose, because I've disclosed for how many years, you know? Zeffel, did somebody say party and free food? It's cool. I mean, one of the best things about going to like the Milwaukee event, hanging out with fellow creators, getting to meet new creators you haven't met before. You know, meeting Brian from How to Automotive, you know, meeting creators that you normally wouldn't have contact with. Getting good content out of it. I mean, you know, going there and shooting a bunch of videos and getting a bunch of good content that does well. You inform a bunch of people about new products. You know, I mean, honestly, it's a win-win for the company that does it, because they get a bunch of videos on their new products out there that people watch and want to watch. So anyway, Pure Mayhem for the win. Have you done forward 1.5 both EcoBoost timing belt? Did one with the special tools. It runs great. No check engine light. It lacks power when trying to floor it. Any ideas? Replaced leaking water pump. More than likely, the crank was not locked down in the proper place, or timing slightly off. We've run into that several times with those timing belts. I did the Amazon tool video. That was an example where the crank was able to move because the tool wasn't fully inserted and locked the crank down. Not saying that's what happened, but it's not hard to get the tool in the crank tool in the wrong spot. I know that's happened to Bam Bam a couple times, but yeah, that's that usually is what happens when it lacks power right after a timing belt. Is the timing is off. Phil H, wish I could get some new scan tools to review. Build a following. If you get enough sponsorships, they will reach out to. If you get enough subscribers and views, they will reach out to you. Evan, it's going well. How you doing? Phil H, sometimes it's better not to get sponsored than they got you by the balls with the do what we say or else. No. Honestly, they don't have anybody by the only threat is to boycott you, is to not send you product in the future. They don't have any repercussions against you. Using Milwaukee as another example, I've said negative things about Milwaukee in my videos. I've never gotten any emails or anything like that about my content. I know they watch them, so but I've never had negative feedback from any company. You know, there's one product. This was a long time ago. I had a company reach out to me. They sent me a bunch of tools, and they wanted, they were asking for video reviews of them, and like everything they sent me was junk except a heat gun. And I didn't specifically do a video on that heat gun. I used it as an example what stuff you can do with a heat gun. This was many years ago. And that heat gun's still actually doing very well. I've had zero problems with it. I told them I could not do content on any of the other products because they were just absolute junk. They said, okay. I was very new into sponsored video, or not sponsored videos, but sponsorships of companies sending me tools, and it was one of those situations where the people I were dealing with didn't work directly for the company. They were ad agency, and next time, when I contacted them again, they didn't work with that company anymore, stuff like that. But yeah, no, if that's the only thing they got you with, is not sampling you products in the future. And if you really care about your integrity, you're not going to badmouth. You're not going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to lie for a company. You're just going to be honest in the review and suck it up and deal with the repercussions if it's a bad product. Everybody going to have their opinion about a tool, but I mean, that's the thing is they really don't have you. I mean, if they pay you, if they give you money to talk about their product, it's not a review. I mean, period. That's just a, that's not a review. It's a product showcase. I think that's what Jace 2 Cents calls it. I mean, hell, Linus Media Group has a dedicated channel called Short Circuit, where every bit of their content is sponsored by the product they're reviewing, and, you know, and then have an ad in the middle of it, which is crazy. SWK Famous. I tried to get Dena Tools to send me some tools to test when I talked to him. Phil H. So is Erico a content creator or a garage owner? Well, he's both. He owns his shop. Eric's a cool guy. Don't think he's not. As I've said many times, I know Erico. I've met him several times. He is exactly like he is on camera, except he censors himself. He's a lot more blue in person. I would wager to guess, though, he makes a lot more as a content creator than he does as a shop owner. So, anyway. John Doe Kirk, thank you for all the information. It's helpful to have accurate, no BS information on the industry. I'm glad I can help. That's the whole reason I started the channel, was to help young technicians getting into the industry. Renegade, I wish Milwaukee would contact me. I'm suspecting they're pulling back a lot from that program. I don't know for sure, but it seems to me like they're not. It seems to me like they're looking for really big channels to get involved with instead of smaller channels. So, like, I know they've sent tools, I believe anyway, they've sent a bunch of tools to like Motor Trend TV and those kind of channels. Will R, anyone familiar with Lexus Toyota immobilizer systems? I'm fairly familiar with them, and I'm sure a bunch of people in the chat are. I have no battery tools when I was in the field. All air tools, didn't have time for batteries to charge or replace batteries. Well, you know. Jevin Base Mansell. I'm sure I'm butchering that, so I'm sorry. Have you done any recent comparisons on launch versus Autel tools, debating what to buy for home use, doing side work such as much prefer the Snap-on user experience, but can't deny how strong the shop Autel is. Honestly, because I use both. The idiosyncrasies is going to be the bigger question, and that's and a lot of the idiosyncrasies, like meaning a test will not work on Autel, but the test will work on, you know, when you like doing an evap test or something like that, it won't work right on Autel, but it'll work right on launch. But literally updates could flip that around. So honestly, my advice is, either tool will do just as well as the other. They're going to have some holes, just like anything else on the planet. Because you're familiar with Autel, I'd be inclined to tell you to get another Autel for home use. But if you get launch, might help you fill some holes if you decide you want to bring it to the shop on occasion to fill a hole. But either will do you fine. Like I said, it's going to be that weird outlier that's going to. Oh, excuse me. That's the rare time it's going to let you down, and that's literally too hard to predict, because, like I said, an update could flop the situation completely around. The ball hard mechanic, I don't have many battery tools. I got a few. Jevin, even compared to our Zeus Plus, the only thing about Snap-on that have left to claim is their scope's good, but way overpriced, and their graphing is the best aftermarket graphing on the planet, period. That's not enough for the cost. So, Raymond, what's up? Zeus is weak sauce, yeah. Phil H, last Snap-on scanner I had was the original Varus. I have a Varus Edge. I mostly use it as a portable, quick use scope. I mean, it's unfortunately it's not updated. It can't be updated at this point anymore. And, you know, that's all I use it for, is for a quickly portable scope. So, Jevin, it's awesome for what it is, but not worth the price against the competition. Nope. Jevin, we got the Zeus Plus when it came out. Our last one before that was a Varus as well. Had the personality keys. Oh yeah, I remember those. I still have my original Snap-on red brick somewhere. And I still have the personality keys. I think I have a spare set of some of the personality keys. Jevin, it covers everything you need for a job. The Zeus is way nicer to use than the offshore stuff, but it isn't as powerful. Yeah, pretty much. El Chito, and I took French in high school, not Spanish, so I'm going to leave the rest of that alone. What do you think about Icon tools? They're good. Some are a little more expensive than they probably should be. Comparable tools to Gear Wrench, SunX, etc., etc. They're good tools. Are there better tools out there? Yes, for a lot more money. So, Zephyl, you could probably do a live stream with Deno Tools on here to talk about it. Good. AI will replace the Autotech, AI flatratemaster. No. All good. It's pronounced like Steven, but with a J instead. So, Jeevan. Jeevan, okay. Zephyl, flatratemaster, a lot more blue in person. Wouldn't have guessed that, but haven't followed. I mean, you know, he's a country boy. He's gonna be a little blue. By that I mean a lot more cuss words. You have to be careful on YouTube about cuss words, like saying a F word within the first 60 seconds of a video will immediately cause it to be demonetized. So you have to be careful. And there's limits and all this. It doesn't make any sense for me to say any of those words in a video, so I generally don't. Every now and then my more natural comes out on these live streams, and I do say some cuss words. I'll ask, since I'm kind of at a crossroads on it. Got a 2015 IS350 crank no start. B2799 is the code. I've got communication on the IM wire at PCM, but nothing on the IMO wire at the PC. What? I've got communication on the IMI wire at PCM, but nothing on the IMO wire at the PCM. IS350, crank no start. code is B2799. If I'm not... trying to remember how that system is set up, and I'm not easy to test since ID code box is in the back of the H box. Yeah, I remember that. Raymond Lopez, we hired a lady 3 weeks ago, working out great. That's awesome. I hate when it does that. Give me a minute to think on it. X tool, any scan. No, no, I do not have any experience with the Any-Scan. I have experience with the ThinkCar version, which is similar. They've got a ThinkCar 2. Judging by the fact that it's probably very similar to that, it probably works fine. So I would expect it'd be a decent tool, but I have no experience with it. Zeffel. Don Erickson, good day, Mike. Listening to you as I'm traveling back to Nome from Kodiak, where I just finished an in-frame overhaul on a C-Series Cummins and a boat. That sounds really fun. Gabriel, switching over from automotive into diesel, have a decent set of tools for auto. What do you think I need that's different for diesel use, and what can I reuse? You're going to need probably a lot of 3/4 sockets, Sunex 1-inch sockets, impacts for 1 inch and 3/4. Obviously, you're going to need 3/4 and 1-inch impacts. A lot of your stuff will definitely be useful. So that's not a big concern. Get in there and start figuring out exactly what you're going to need. But most of your tools will definitely be carried over. So you just need a lot of bigger stuff. Phil H. MSIG has a new scope you can hook up to a laptop. Seems nice for a decent price. Yeah, I've never used MSIG, MixSig, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it looks nice. Even if I was going to be additional like that, I was thinking the same, doing the launch, but it may not be at the shop often anymore. It's a part-time gig, looking at side work to replace that. Yeah, if you're familiar with an Autel and it's pretty much going to be just side work, I'd probably stick with Autel just to maintain that familiarity. Simply because you're familiar with it, you know where stuff is, and you can just, go to where you need to go faster, etc. So, but it's up to you, obviously, and your money. Magoose, I pulled the trigger and bought the H-frame BJ 18100 since I primarily do all the front end work at my shop. Now, as life goes, I haven't gotten a ball joint job for a few weeks. Excited to use it. One of the best examples of that for me, years ago, I was working at a shop that primarily worked on Toyotas, Lexus, Hondas, and Acuras. And I was doing multiple press-in bearings every day. We were getting sublet spindles to press apart, press back together. excuse me. I bought my hub grappler. The shop bought a Mueller Cups stand for the press to make it easier. I don't think I did another press-in bearing the rest of the time I worked at that shop. Like, I got 2 weeks later, I got a bolt-in bearing. And I was doing like 3 at least a week. So yeah, that's how it works. And that's why my North Star water pump pulley or water pump socket remains in my toolbox to this day. So I never see one of them freaking things again. Jodenkirk, does Snap-on scanners like Zeus or Triton have TSB information or OEM service instructions? OEM service instructions only if you pay for they also own Mitchell Information Systems. You can, they do integrate it if your shop uses Mitchell. They allow you, or not Mitchell, but there's the Snap-on version of it. They allow you to link to it, et cetera, et cetera. You can also, in a web browser, go to AllData or other information sites like Identifix. Is it built in? There is some information that is built in as long as you keep the tool updated. But in general, no. As far as a standalone tool, there's very limited information. There's some information in the scope module about wiring diagrams, and they're not always accurate, just an FYI. They usually are, but they're not always, like the pinouts are usually good. The colors can be off. But no, generally no information is included with that. If I remember right, you were looking at Porsche or Mercedes-Benz. Their information is part of the scan tool. So if you go work at a dealership, all that information is part of the scan tool. Phil H. Gabriel, you're going to need a back brace. Good point. And knee pads. And hearing protection and eye protection. Philippe, which do you prefer, flat rate or hourly? Flat rate. I'm all about the money. I'm all about efficiency. And the shop I was talking about earlier didn't stay busy enough. And even when I tried to milk a job, like this was all I had for the rest of the day, I couldn't. I don't work that way. So flat rate for me all the way. You know, I gotta try to push cars in and out. I don't like sitting around doing nothing. Jordan Kurt, I'm going to take German along with my auto text classes. Cool. Hate when it does that. Zeffel goes, I was thinking blue as Democrat and red as Republican. No. Speaking of more blue. Charles, I'm hiding in the background trying to catch up. Jeevan, to be able to eliminate 1.5 to 2 hours of commute time, I'm looking to work from home on my days off from my main shop, only go in part-time job. If they like things up specifically for me, I guess that would be line. Yeah, an 1.5 to 2 hour commute sucks. I hope that is both ways. Because, you know, I had an 1.5 to 2 hour commute here in Atlanta. It sucks. Phil H. Does Toyota Lexus gives talking about that immobilizer scope shops in the service manual. They usually do for signal checking. I don't remember a lot of signal for immunizer in service information, but I could be not that specific model or whatever. Isaiah Hay stopping by to say hi. Starting classes to become a mechanic in September. Been enjoying your videos. Looking forward to feature ones. I appreciate it. Gabriel, I'm young and invincible. I'm sure I can lift a 100-pound brake drum daily for 4 years. Yeah, don't. That's something this is just, use. I know they're a pain in the butt, but any weight distributing device, whether it's a hub cart to pull the hubs off, use it. Anything that can save your back in this, and especially that industry, use it. Don't manhandle off a head. Use the overhead crane, etc., etc. Enoch Cheng, what do you think about the new M12 Stubby? Videos coming out tomorrow on my initial impressions of it. Here's the 3/8 one. I like them. They've got more power for sure. The 1/2 inch is awesome. The 3/8, I might need to be using power level 2 instead of 3 for what I use it for. That I go into that on the video tomorrow. So yeah, as I said, bigger tools. Yeah, I'm not remembering on that particular system what it is. Eliminate the commute time. Understandable, to eliminate the commute time. Phil H, you work on eco diesels, Power Strokes. I have worked on Power Strokes, Volkswagen diesels. I worked on some Cummins International back in the day, Ford diesels, etc. But I have not worked on any of that stuff since I left the fleet shop many moons ago. Jeevan, you're right up to tractor trailers. I'm in Canada. My main job is working on commercial transport and public transit stuff. Private shop, we work on everything. Not sure if both signals originate at the ID box or if it's an in and out. I honestly, I don't have a super ton of experience with that. And I do not remember. I'd have to check what does troubleshooting say to basic ohm checks. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember that system well enough to give you any advice on that because I just don't remember what it's supposed to be. Stoke Steel, apparently a clutch pressure plate for an 18 Cruise with the 1.6 diesel is just flat out not available from GM. Some dealers have them but won't sell to another shop. Yeah, I've run into that where we had a BMW that had a huge problem with forget what the hell it was. Something failed, oil and coolant, and there was a hose that literally, there was like 2 in the country and nobody would let go of it. So yeah, it's crazy, but you know, they're saving it for their customers. So it's up to them if they don't want to sell it. Will R seems to be more familiar with that. Yeah, I think I've done a few of them too, but I don't remember the testing I did, honestly, because it's been a few years. Enoch, what is your opinion about Snap-on suing Autel, winning, saying that Autel stole Snap-on software? They did. Mercedes is now suing them. Their new scanner update will most likely remove a lot of functions. Years ago, actually, the first time I met Eric O, I was talking to the president and owner of Vagcom. And he was telling me that they knew Autel stole their software because they have code in their software that is an identifier. And they found it in Autel's software. So they knew they were stealing their software. Is it surprising? No, it's a Chinese company. They've gotten caught by Ford, by somebody else besides Snap-on. I know Ford caught them. Somebody else caught them, etc., etc. So they don't care. And it'll be back in the next update, more than likely. Raymond Lopez, we have no more tool trucks, Snap-on, Matco tools. It happens. I mean, it's a tough business. Phil H, why does Autel keep getting sued but launch Topton don't when it's the same Chinese engineering, reverse engineering both softwares? That's actually not true. Autel, the company, came out of launch as their engineers left and started up Autel. The launch company has their own engineers, and because of their heavy influence in the US market, I think they've done a lot of stuff to appease the American market, and I think they're probably more likely to be buying the information from a lot of companies rather than just reverse engineering it. I don't know that for sure, but I know that the same people do not engineer their software anymore. The original X431, that was the people that brought out the first Autel, is the people that designed that tool. They left and started Autel. But I believe they are more, I believe their launch is probably more up and up, but I don't know if that for sure. You know, when you get down to brass tacks, who the heck knows anyway? So, Will R, it's pretty straightforward, but either way, it's an expensive repair and don't want to gamble with $2,000 of our customers' money. Yeah, I wish I could be more help. Enoch, do you prefer Pro Demand Mitchell or All Data? All data. Mitchell's diagrams are redrawn. Unless you go to the OE ones, but I've had a lot of problems with Mitchell's diagrams being completely wrong and screwed me over hard. Like I went round and round on a vehicle because nothing was making sense. And then I had access to All Data from a former shop I was at, logged into All Data, looked up the wiring diagram, got the right diagram, and was able to diagnose the car in like 20 minutes. But they have OEM diagrams as well. I'm much more familiar with All Data, so I prefer All Data. Raymond Lopez, Trucks tools looks fading away. It's a hard business model. It's just a difficult way to make a living unless you have a really good route, you know, where the techs pay you and you're not driving too much. You're not a Snap-on dealer. Snap-on does some really crappy things to distributors, but anyway, it is a really hard business to have a good business. And it's so easy for it just to go to crap so easily. Buff Kid, today I got laid off at the Toyota dealership. That sucks. Thoughts on the ATS eScan Elite scanner. to make sure. I've personally never used it. They're that took forever to load. I know a lot of people love their little load checker for fuel trims and all that, but I don't have any experience with the Elite scanner. I know Bernie Thompson, who probably designed it, is a really smart guy, but I don't have any personal experience with it. 66 C10. Do you think your flat rate versus hourly tune will change when you're 60? I couldn't work hourly at the age 26. I want to move more. I want to move. I'm sorry. I want to move all day. Will it change when I'm 60? Probably, because all I'm going to be doing, hopefully at 60, is diagnosing and mentoring people, but I doubt what'll happen to me. 60 is only 10 years away. So I'm still in good health. I can still do what I want to do. So it is what it is. All day. Phil H, how do you go from breaking your back to sitting in air conditioning with a keyboard, being a paper pushing pansy? I have no idea, dude. I do actually. When I didn't sit in an office, for 4 years I was a regional sales manager for a couple different companies, but I wasn't sitting in an office. I was traveling to and from 2 different shops, doing sales and seminars, and I was talking to technicians all day. The office stuff I had to do, I always hated. So, but I don't know how you go to sitting in an office. 66 C10. How far did you have to drive one way at the last shop? I don't think I could handle over an hour. It was 23 miles each way. 23 miles sounds like 20 minutes. It is not in Atlanta. 45-minute commute in the morning. At the worst, usually about 30 to 35 minutes in the morning. But, got really bad. It could be up to 2 hours. Drive home was usually about an hour. So I usually, on average, hour and a half, 2 hours. My my daughter actually had a longer commute to her college, and about half the time, because she went the other way. I lit a cigar, turned on music, zoned out, just drove home. The thing about a commute, it doesn't really bother me that much. You get a nice little bit of alone time. You can just jam out to whatever music you like. It doesn't really bother me that much. Hence why I bought a nice truck, so I'd be comfortable doing it. And it's just, it's part of literally. It's part of Atlanta. If you live in Atlanta and you don't work where you live, which the shops around here don't pay crap, so that's why I have to commute. It's just part of living in Atlanta. My wife commutes to Atlanta every day, and it is what it is. We are behind. Jeevan, that's a round trip with rush hour. Some days it's an hour in, just over a half hour home with no traffic, but it's hard, especially when my other job is night shift. Yeah, that does suck. Raymond Lopez, we were so busy. J Buff Kid, I got an interview with Honda Money. Awesome. Good luck. John DeKirk, do you know anyone that's pivoted from being a mechanic to being a automotive technical writer? Yeah, Brandon Steckler. I know a bunch, actually. They've transitioned to either being a writer or an instructor, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the most recent one I can tell you is Brandon Steckler. When I met him, he was still working as a technician at Honda. And he went from teaching his first class, which I think I took his second ever time instructing. He did really well. Then he got signed up with WorldPack and their training department. Then he got with Motor Age, and the rest is history. So, yeah. Zeffel, flatratemaster, serve the home, has a good video on 10 gigabit firewall router server you might like. Order one myself, hoping to get 8 gigabit Ethernet to home soon. I'm actually hopeful that they were installing Google Fiber on my main street, but I doubt it. No, I want Wendell's 100 gig. I want that 100 gig. The biggest computer stuff, by the way, in case you guys didn't know that. My biggest obstacle for my house is there's no Ethernet wiring anywhere in my house. If I want, I'm literally going through phone lines, or I'd literally have some phone lines in the house. Other than that, it'd have to be some sort of adapter to coaxial or something like that. So even if I got, fiber to the house, I still wouldn't have fiber in my office. So that does suck. Actually, where did I put it? Speaking of computer stuff, figured you all like this. EK sucks. This weekend, I get to put a water pump in my my gaming / streaming PC. The one I'm streaming on right now. My water pump's going out. They said water cooling be fun. So yeah. David, if your boss asked you to interview a tech, what questions would you ask? And what capabilities would you expect of a seasoned tech? It depends on a lot of factors. One of the biggest thing, if they're wanting you to interview them for technical abilities, I would first off ask them how they give a scenario. You hand them a ticket. It's got a check engine light on it. No other information. How would you proceed? Pull the car in, scan for codes. Once I've determined the code, I would, check for TSBs, and you give them scenarios that would meet something with, like, oh, it's an evap code on a 2019, et cetera, that has a TSB. Ask him technical questions that hopefully would give you answers that would tell you whether or not he's a good technician for diagnosing cars, experienced. Ask him about what's your procedure after you do a oil leak repair or a coolant leak repair. Find out how he would treat it. After you fill the system up, take me through it. You've got a car with a leaking water pump in it. Tell me step by step what you would do. If you're looking for a good actual seasoned technician that's going to do good quality repairs. You know, I'm going to replace the water pump, check all the hoses, fill the system up with my vacuum filler, check for leaks, let the vehicle run, come up to temperature, check for proper, you know, heat out of the vents, et cetera, et cetera. Get a feel for how he does repairs is the best way to describe, you know, a technical interview. If you're looking for how he's going to fit within your shop as far as personality, just talk to him. Talk to him about, you know, him, you know, interact with him, you know, try to get him joking, see what his sense of humor is. But technical, you're just going to have to sit there and get him to tell you how he does things. And that's usually where they'll also screw up. You know, like a big one for me is if a technician doesn't mention TSBs in a diagnostic procedure, they're probably not going to check TSBs. Hopefully that helps you. Zeffel, Fly Rate, How I Did It is a cool channel to follow if you like skid steers. Cool. Phil H, way overpriced but has good features. Embry, oh, it is actually low. I'm sorry about that. I turned it up for you, Embry. Chris, David asked for a quick video of their tools and organization. That says a lot. Good point, Chris. Phil H, Mitchell, I hated it. They suck with connector locations. Yes. God, no. Hanes underwear. I wear Fruit of the Loom. Not Hanes. One of, I don't know what to call it. I'm really good at finding stuff in all data. You know, I've had many techs. I can't find this. I can't find this information. There it is. So that helps. Embry, eBay has like tool trucks. Mac has a new torque wrench called Smart Torque Wrench. Google it. It's cool. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's the one that like saves and all that kind of stuff. Haptic alert, yeah. Trying to compete with that Snap-on stuff. They compete with them on price. That's for dang sure. Whew. That looks cool. Harold, what's up? I still like using my Mac Mentor scanner. Oh. Carlos Lopez, any thoughts on the new Maximus 5.0 from Matco? It's a launch scan tool with a Matco skin on it. I primarily use launch scan tools, so it's a good tool. And it's just a launch scan tool with Matco's GUI on it. It's graphical user interface. Mechanic to services runner is what I'm saying. Yes, I know several that have done that as well. Service writers, I've given them a lot of crap, but you do have to have a lot of skills. Now, being a technician, you should have good knowledge of how to do a lot of the stuff because you've seen it done wrong. The biggest thing I see with technicians becoming service writers is the sales part of it itself. Because you have to be a good salesman. So, you know, that's a big thing that I see a lot of them struggle with. That is, they have to get over the sales part of it. Zeffel online mechanics tip. I'm guessing your employer didn't let you come in extra early or extra late to help with the commute, just like most other. If you're asking me, I could come in as early as I wanted to and stay as late as I wanted to. Until I got fired, I had keys to the building, but they didn't shift hours, so no. Chris Storbeck blowing through comments now like it's afternoon oil changes and pencil whipped inspections. LOL. Oh yeah, everyone. Raymond Lopez. Everyone top done plus less topology. Scan tool expensive. Stoic Steel, my Matco guy, says the Maximus 5.0 is exclusive to Matco, but it uses launch software. It's a launch scan tool with a Matco GUI. Jevin, I need to get back to work so I can water cool my new PC. Built it in an 011 Dynamic Evo XL. Plan to run triple 420 rads. Currently trying to get an issue figured out. Cooler keeps resetting the screen. Fun. Yeah, mine is two 360 radiators, water cooled CPU and GPU, and GPU during gaming is running about 10 to 15 degrees hotter than it should be. So loop's not clogged. I don't think it's just the pump's making noise. So but my main editing PC and my streaming gaming PC are both water cooled. Yeah, whatever. Oh geez. Rip my speaker. Sorry. It should be limited. Chris, ever try using a shop vac in the oil tube to prevent oil pan plug gasket without losing any oil? I hear the vacuum will prevent the oil from finding out. Sounds mental. I've never done it in person. I've seen it done. I've never done it. I've seen it done in person. 9 times out of 10, when I have to replace a leaking gasket, it's because the thread's pulled. And you're gonna have to drain it anyway. So, Jonah Kirk, since I'm going to get nice discounts from the tool company, does it make sense to build a tool collection with a diag cart, a general lube, and service cart, and a 55? It makes sense to buy the stuff you really want to buy from the tool companies, like wrenches. I would probably definitely buy those from the tool company. Anything you want that is available from the tool company, now is the time to buy it. But be careful. Don't get in a lot of debt. It's still going to add up, but definitely with the discounts, now is the time to do it. Buff Kid, do you know any other websites like AllData, but it's free? Nope. All the information on AllData, they buy from the manufacturers and with the permission to republish it. Yeah, max out the discounts because once you're not in school anymore, they go away. Zeffel, that is a good point, because he was talking about they don't let them come in different hours. It seems counterintuitive, but Enoch, the current shop I'm working at is closing. My boss is retiring. He never liked me from the beginning. I spoke with the new owner. He hired me and allowed me to keep my toolbox in the shop and not to have to move it home, but my boss won't let me keep it there. The new owner even talked to him. The moment the new owner left, he just changed his mind and said, you have to take it home and then bring it back in 4 days. He said, need to go to the shop of everything in my box in the way. He even yelled at me about this. The new owner owned a auto body shop store and an automotive shop next door. And man, that's a lot of words. An automotive shop in a different plaza. He just wants to move his automotive shop closer to the auto body. Eventually, back and forth, the new owner, my current boss, he said I can move it to the auto body shop for a few days. That's good. Brandon, I just picked up a vacuum cooler refiller from Snap-on. Time to collect attachments. Yep. Fu Man Poo, if it hurts to pee, go see a doctor. Oh. Charles, I see problem chat the same, like a good thing to have. 06 GMC short bus 350 had bad AC pressures doing diagnostics. Somebody else worked on it. LOL. eBay, compressor, etc. God. Short bus. Is it just for the cabin, or does it, just the driver, or does it cool the entire vehicle? Because hopefully they have a secondary AC unit for a short bus, but chances are not. And probably the original compressor blew up, put crap throughout the entire system. It's probably got too much oil in it because the eBay compressor was full of oil. Yeah. As Jevin says, working on AC after someone cut corners always is interesting. Fun times. Yep. Yes, that is. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'd if the pressures are bad, I'd be sucking it down after I make sure the compressor kicks on, and then I would start checking for debris in lines. If it has, a rear evap core on the same system, I would pull the line off of that, check for debris back there. Because chances are if a compressor went boom, there's going to be debris through the entire system, and it's just going to be effed, The build quality on short buses is horrible these days. They've been horrible for a very long time. Charles, it just started on it, came in with no Freon, 80 PSI, high side, 110 low side. We have 68 on the front, 73 on the back. Yeah, those pressures are a little messed up. Used a come here mechanic to fix it. Oh God, it just keeps getting worse, man. Like I found a vacuum coolant kit from Aftercool directly from the manufacturer for $30 Canadian. It said a 400, but they only ship from China to China. Damn. Um, Jevin, that's crazy. It's been a while back on fourth, walking a guy through AC repairs, including walking him through how to fill out. Guy working on it the day before just drained it without thoroughly checking it out. Tried to blame a leak that was non-existent. Not fun with the system is 35 pounds of refrigerant. Yeah, pretty much. Zephyl, flat rate, what do you think about using a chisel point on a rotor spinning from drive speed to get rid of rust on the rotor's edge? Shaking hands with danger. Have you done it? No. If I was trying to get rid of rust on the edge of a rotor, I would either use a wire wheel or like a roll-lock disc. Jevin, can we get your video on the stubbies early? Dude, it comes out in, 10 hours? Because it comes out at 6 a.m. Jevin, what do you want to know? I can answer your questions. Basically using the car as a lathe. No, I have not tried to cut a rotor with that, with the engine running. The rear is a carrier air handler. This vehicle came from Woodstock. It still has 3,000 miles left on its oil change. I imagine that's why the company who used it sold it, because they got a quote. Yes, probably. Yeah, they probably got a system replacement. Because it probably needs it. I think I've got come here mechanic to fix it. That's crazy. Chris, brake lathe machine is like 1 horsepower at best. New school brake lathe is 100 and 400 horsepower. Seems legit. YOLO. Yeah. Charles, customers could just tell the truth the first time when you ask them the questions that are necessary. Oh, don't get me started on that. Yeah, no, I all right, I don't know if it'll work real well on camera. But there is no physical button on the stubbies. You put the switch in neutral and you hit the button twice. So you can set it one-handed and then use it. But there is no physical button on the tool at all. This is just a light and diagram. So, another one, number one rule in auto repair: all customers lie. Yep. But yeah, it's pretty much like, and it's changed to level 2. So yeah, it's one-handed. But yeah, that would make things too easy. And then Snap-on changed their logo front on the new 100-tooth ratchets. Do you think they will be upgrading Epic Toolbox soon, considering they've been around for almost 20 years? Probably not. If they were going to come out with something, they would just come out with something new. I think they've well established the Epic brand. So I don't think they're going to be coming out with anything new, but I don't have any insider knowledge either. The lack of the button is what I'm wondering if I like it once I get used to it or it'll bug me. And with that, and what it will be like to go back and forth since I have the new ones at my main job. Honestly, for me at least, I didn't change the power level much. Like on my old guns, they always stayed at 3. The 3/8 probably will get changed more often just because of its strength. I think it'll go mostly on 2 for most of what I do with it. But the 1 inch, the 1/2 inch is pretty much just going to stay at 3 because of what I use it for. So for me, I didn't change the power levels much. Honestly, if I did change the power levels a lot, I would prefer the physical button. Simply because, boom, 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 ready to go. Boom, 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 ready to go. So, but I didn't change them that often. How much are the new Milwaukee Impacts, M12 Impacts I'm talking about? I think they're about the same price as the old ones, but don't quote me on that. Stoic Steel, my favorite is it didn't do that till after you work on it. Shaking my head. Yeah. Yep. Your tire magically went flat after you picked it up and drove 100 miles. Charles, quick oil changes will screw up your car. Just to add, I just had 2 Take 5s and 1 Jiffy Lube this week. No gaskets on your drain plug. JWC Tech, the previous stubby Impact is being clearance with 2 batteries and the M12 soldering gun for $179. For those wanting an extra or a good deal, hacked price $115. That's awesome, dude. If you're in the market for that kind of stuff, go get that deal. Charlie Stone, is the new impact wrench from Milwaukee not for sale yet? You talking about the stubbies? They are for sale. Tomorrow's video has Home Depot links. So they seem to be for sale. Jevin, yeah, the 3/8 I change off, and most times turning down to 3 for running bolts down. Yeah, I mean, I think on the new one, you might be turning, if you're just running them down, you might be turning it down to 1 instead of 2. I haven't tested 1 at all, so I don't know how strong that level is, but yeah, that was, I don't know how much I'm going to like that system. So, Chris Dolrick, don't worry how much it costs. It's only $50 per week. The new stubby is $199. That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't quite sure. I like the looks of the new kits with the HO batteries. Yeah. Charles, hey, it depends on the customers you're dealing with. Only on lying. The second part of that is just tell you the truth on who did what and where and what uses parts. Yes, exactly. I don't know what it is about people and thinking hiding information is going to help you. Enoch just installed a hutch on my Husky tool chest, but since no one wanted to help me, I ended up scratching the back. Oh, dude, that sucks. The marks rub off with water and then reappear when dry. Go get polishing compound. If that would be just in the paint itself. Get a really, really, very light, like polishing compound, rub it on there with a lot of water, and you should get rid of those marks, hopefully. Oh, what other questions we got? Oh, I mean, Charles, I mean, how do you get bigger than the epic? Just add another piece. When you can't add another piece on a single level, go to double level. You can put an epic on top of an echo. I mean, that's at that point, yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about that at all, you know. But you're going to need a ladder. I guess that makes it a real epic toolbox. This shit is so serious. You need a ladder to get to the top level. Not even funny. I've known many techs that had to have a ladder to get to their upper hutch. Oh, I saw something like that on Facebook a while back. There's a picture that goes around of, it's actually a parts department, but it's a 2-stack tier of Vidmar boxes, I think, and they put it as a technician's toolbox, and it's not. It's a parts department, but it's a 2-level. One's on a mezzanine. You have to ladders to go up to the top, etc. Stoic Steel, have a good one. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, I guess since the chat has slowed down, I guess I'm gonna head out as well. Brandon Melstead, any advice for storing blow molded cases with limited space? One, get rid of the blow molded cases, or two, get either a filing cabinet or a locker. You can find used lockers on like office cabinets, office lockers. You can find them on, Facebook Marketplace, find them cheap, etc. Anyway, that's a good, just cheap way to store. Or you can go to like Husky or Craftsman and get their cabinet. Those are also good for storing blow molded cases. Joden Kirk, what fluid are you running in your PC custom, Luke? I use Xerox Geo5 because it's good enough for my bends. It's good enough for my computer. I use EK's clear fluid in my gaming streaming PC, and I used was it EK? May not have been EK. I use orange fluid, computer-based fluid for my editing PC. It might be EK still, but I don't know. Might have been Primo Chill. I don't remember. I got a partial bottle of it somewhere, but I know this one uses EK Clear. I wish they made a Epic 96 or a 68 with an extra bank from the 84 would be money. Home Depot, how do you warranty that? That's a pain in the ass. D. Harley, do you ever do live with shop management as a topic? If you want to talk about shop management, you can in any of these live streams. I generally, tools is where the conversation usually goes. So that's why I do let's talk tools or whatever else. But yeah, if you've got shop management questions, ask me. Love my old layout Epic 44, but wouldn't mind going bigger, but not with the cost of losing the big top drawer. Understandable. All right. All right, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it here. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. And as always, Thanks for watching. I am the Fire Rate Master.